everyone. Welcome to the seasonal podcast. My name is Lane.
And I'm Holden, and this week we start our top 10 favorite video games of all time for each of us. This one's going to be split into 2 episodes. We're
going to go through 10 through 2 this episode, briefly talking about each game in our list. And we'll have an episode, our next episode will be dedicated to our number 1 game.
Yeah, specifically so that we can talk about and expand on those a little bit.
And why we like it so much, and
yeah.
I feel like I can talk about my number 1 game for a while.
True. And your number 1 game, because we know each other's number 1s.
Yeah.
But we don't know the rest of the list exactly. I think my number 1 is somewhere on your list.
It is.
Yeah. So we can talk about it a little bit, but that one will be expanded upon more next episode. Either way, this is the start. So I'm just kind of wondering where we want to start. If we want to start with honorable mentions.
Or honorable mentions? We could start with that, yeah.
So you could, 1 second. Let me do a little bit of counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 games, 5 childhood games, and then 2 honorable mentions. So you can go over your 11th. I can go over my honorable mentions.
I have 1 honorable mention, which is Outlast. Because I horror games.
Okay. That's an honorable mention. Is that one of the 11?
That's probably my 12th. I have one.
Okay.
I have them ranked 1 through 11 in honorable mentions. Right now, I only have Outlast. I was going to mention a few more. I just couldn't think of them right off the top of my head. But Outlast is one of them because when it comes to horror games, I enjoy them, but at the same time, I don't, just because they give me a heart attack every time.
Yes.
But Outlast is one horror game that does it really well.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to agree. I hate horror games because I don't like playing them. I love watching people play them.
Right.
But I don't like playing them myself because when I watch people play them, if I'm on my phone, I can turn the screen down to lessen my anxiety. But Lane has a weak heart, so it's kind of hard for him to play some horror games depending on what they are.
And Outlast, I mean,
it's really good.
I did a YouTube
Outlast
series
2 is not nearly as good.
That game is one that just made me tense up.
That was the first video game that I watched H2O Delirious play on YouTube. That was the first YouTuber I subscribed to, is Delirious. And that was the first playthrough I watched, was his Outlast one. And that's what made me fall in love with watching people play games in general. So my first honorable mention, since that was your first one, my first honorable mention, I'm going to say, is Warframe. This is an MMORPG.
Yeah.
Technically, but it's also kind of like a third-person shooter, I think, maybe. I don't know how to define this game. It fits into so many different genres at once, but it's an honorable mention because it's one that I can play for a couple dozen hours in a few days.
My second honorable mention follows this.
Yeah, it's one that I can play for a few dozen hours in the space of a couple weeks, but then not touch for 6 months.
I get that.
But I love the game. When I am into the game and I'm playing it, I love it. It's got one of the most satisfying gameplay loops for what it is that I've ever played. Especially,
I have it downloaded. I never played it. My friends got into it, but I will say it's hard to get into. When I first started playing it, I played for a few hours. I was like, what the fuck? But then Josh, my friend that I mentioned in the last episode, actually, he and I started playing it together after I got a better PC and whatnot, instead of playing it on my laptop. And I just fell in love with it and played for 40 hours in a few weeks, and we had a ton of fun. But I haven't touched it in months because I don't have time to dedicate to MMOs, unfortunately. So I wish I did. But my second honorable mention is also an MMO. It's Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay, yeah.
Mainly because I'm a huge fan of the Elder Scrolls series, and MMOs were never really my favorite thing. But this one, well, I like MMOs, but I like this one the best. Not because it's the best MMO out there, but because of the lore. The story it gives, and
that's my thing. A lot of MMOs have great gameplay and great story and stuff like that, but I don't like a lot of traditional MMOs because a lot of them require you to be in parties for certain bosses and stuff like that, and I like to play by myself. The reason why I don't like to play a lot of multiplayer games, and even when it comes to combat games like COD Online, I don't play that kind of stuff because I like playing by myself.
Right.
That's just how I like the game.
Does that really well. You can play that game completely by yourself.
Yeah.
There's a few dungeons that you might need a few people for, but honestly, and the people around you are pretty friendly and they're not afraid. They'll come and help you fight this one boss if you're having an issue. But Elder Scrolls Online is probably my favorite.
Yeah, and Warframe is easy enough to play on your own as well. It's just it doesn't work as well. So my second honorable mention is Star Wars: The Old Republic. Very similar thing, another MMO. I made these honorable mentions specifically because they're the MMOs.
Right.
But when it comes to a traditional style MMO like World of Warcraft or something like that, Star Wars: The Old Republic is the one that does the best for me because I really like the story. And stuff like that, because Star Wars, it's also the MMO that I've played. Like, if I were to play Final Fantasy 14, I'm sure that would hit me better than the Old Republic, even though I'm not a huge JRPG guy. But
is that true?
Final Fantasy 14 is
not Star Wars: Old Republic. They're remaking it for and releasing it.
So. No, that's KOTOR. Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. Those two games are different. The Old Republic is the MMO. It's a little confusing, but
yeah.
But I like the Old Republic. Every single time I play it for like I said, a few dozen hours over the course of a couple weeks. But then I don't touch it for 6 months.
Right.
But every single time I do start playing it, I'm like, oh, I want to subscribe now. But then I'm like, wait, I shouldn't, because in a week I'm not going to be playing this anymore.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess we can kind of go into the top. 1 second.
I have 11 on my list. Those were the only 2 for my honorable mentions.
So those were, and I had honorable mentions. I will mention just a couple other games real quick, because they're games that I'm sure would make my top 10 or would be very close to making it, but I haven't finished them yet. The first one is Horizon Zero Dawn. I just started playing this past weekend, actually, but I'm heavily enjoying it. And by the time I'm done with it, I'm like, this could be one of my favorite games of all time. Like, I'm really enjoying it. So that's one of the reasons. The other game is Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition, the re-release they did for the Switch. That's remastered because the original doesn't look that great. But this game, Xenoblade, is so fucking beautiful. And I've only played I don't remember how many hours. Like, I've only played maybe 7 to 10 hours at the very most out of probably 150 hours that I'll play. I've loved everything that I've experienced so far, and it's one of the most gorgeous settings ever. Like, I've not played a game where I've more often looked at the sky or different areas and been like, this looks fucking cool, and just sat staring at it for a while. But Xenoblade is very good as far as I know, but like I said, I'm still I started playing it right before Overhaul last year, and couldn't continue playing because of Overhaul.
Right.
And I haven't gone back to it yet, but I need to, because I just need to. But yeah, another game I feel like would be on my list, but I haven't finished playing.
Right.
So there's that. Other than that, I have a total of 11 games.
I have 11 games on my list, so.
Okay, because then I guess we can go through them. The first 5 that I'm going to mention, I guess, as I don't have a specific order for some of these for different reasons, but I think the first 5 I'll mention will be childhood nostalgia games specifically.
Okay.
So, because I mean, based on 3 different criteria, they're split into different categories. So, What's your number 11 then?
No Man's Sky.
Oh, okay. Already.
I recently started playing it, but I love space and I love everything. It's always interested me. Yeah. And No Man's Sky has been out for a while, but I've never bought it because I really didn't know what it was about. And then when it came out, the negative reviews, so I just never bothered to learn about it.
Launch quality No Man's Sky was a disaster.
A couple weeks ago was talking to me. He's like, this game, has this many planets. It would take you 500, some billion years to complete if you played it in real life. And it's basically you could explore space endless. And then the fact that it had all these planets, and planets were life size, planet, you can go explore. It's definitely my type of game. Just going out and exploring all these. The fact that you can not run into another player at all, even though they could all be playing at the same time. That type of thing. And so far, I've only put in a couple hours into the game, but I'm enjoying it immensely, and I like discovering these planets.
Yeah, it sounds like a game that I would love, but also hate, because I love open games, but I don't like things to be too massive. And it just sounds so intimidating. I'm just like, that doesn't interest me for that reason. But I can understand the appeal. Since Hello Games went through and fixed all of the problems that it had since launch.
Updates throughout, every year, continually making it better. It's amazing.
It went from being one of the most disastrous launch games to being one of the game of the year
Right.
Award winners in 2020.
Yeah.
2020? Yes.
I don't know if it was 2020 or...
It was 2020, yeah, because it was the same year as Last of Us 2, which don't even get me started. But
that's not on my list.
yeah, it's not on mine either. But yeah, it was that same year, but it got a recognition alongside games like Hades and Ghost of Tsushima.
If you just love space and love, like learning about space, this game is for you.
And I love space. I just don't know how well I would do getting into something that big. It's just, I want it
the
to
purpose
be
of it is to be the game that you can play the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always something new to find.
And that's
not a game that you're supposed to.
That's really my troubles. Complete. I don't want to have. I'm a completionist, so
right.
It's very hard for me to get interested in that for certain reasons. But I guess it makes sense. So, my number 11. Let's see if I can order these actually. My number 11. I think I'm going to go ahead and say Remnant from the Ashes. This is a game from 2019. This is like
I haven't played it yet.
This is like a roguelite third-person shooter, Souls-like. But there's probably a couple other descriptions that I'm forgetting because it borrows from so many different genre types, and they all work so well. The gunplay is fantastic. It's probably the best third-person shooter gunplay I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
There are some issues. There's not a whole lot. I mean, there's plenty enough weapons, but right. Once you get your play style, there's not like a whole lot to expand from that point on. But I don't have problems with it. I love the game. There are a couple glitches. There are a couple frame problems in some areas and whatnot. But that I think part of that is my PS4. If I were to play on a PS5, it might perform better. But I just love everything about the game. Including the DLC, I think at this point I've put over 100 hours into it, and I put that 100 hours or more into it in the space of a month or two. Over the course of summer 2021.
Right.
I played the fuck out of this game. And, if you count your Game of the Year list being all the games that you played in the year, not just games that released that year.
Right.
I think Remnant from the Ashes is top 3 from 2021.
That's fair.
It's very good. I enjoyed it so much. Just the playing experience was great. So, that's my number 11.
My number 10 is the Madden franchise.
Okay.
Because I started when I was in elementary school. Madden 08 was the first Madden I played. I'd go to my friend's house.
Good grief. That's 14 years ago.
I know. Every weekend, I went over to my friend's house, and he'd have it ready on his PlayStation 2, and we would play that for hours at a time. And even to this day, even though Madden's not that great of a game, and they need to get their shit together,
and they copy and paste everything to the point where they forget to change the years sometimes.
Yeah, because I did buy the latest Madden, and I am disappointed because Madden 08, I had such a great time with it, and I am a huge football fan.
Yeah,
I really am a huge Green Bay Packers fan.
Prepare for dislike.
Well, they're going to dislike it just because I said I like the Madden franchise. So,
you know what?
This is going to get dislikes.
Fair enough.
The one game on this list is also going to get dislikes. So,
fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know what you're referring to specifically, but when we get there, I'm sure.
You'll see. But Madden is just because I love football. I love the franchise mode, being an owner or a player, getting drafted, taking your team to the Super Bowl. My friend and I, we have a franchise going on right now where we're both the owners. I was the owner of the Jaguars. He was the owner of the Giants. Relocated. Changed the colors of the teams. Changed the names of the teams. We're trading players. The financial stuff. It's a really, I like Madden because it gives you that experience of being either a football player or running things type of thing.
That's fair.
If you love football, I mean, you love Madden.
I think I would be more into I forget what the NBA ones are called.
2K or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember for sure, but I mean, those are what I would probably be into more than Madden because I like basketball more than football.
Right.
But either way, I think I'm just kind of averse to sports types of games for the most part. Except for Wii Sports.
Sports games really aren't that. Madden's the only sports game that I can play, and that's sometimes. I can play it during, the NFL season when I'm really into football, but during the off season, after the Super Bowl's done with, I don't touch Madden at all because my mind isn't in football. I only play Madden during when.
That's also absolutely fair. And
Yeah.
see, I can't get into it because I don't like football. I don't understand much about football, so it's not something that I get. But that did come as a surprise. But I mean, saying the franchise as a whole.
As a whole, yeah, not this.
But if you picked a specific
games.
one,
I had the most fun in 08, and I don't know if it's because of the game itself or if I was a kid and you know playing on it.
It probably would have been being a kid and playing with friends as well. Too.
Yeah,
but childhood memories are completely valid for making a favorite game list because it's a favorite game, not best game.
Yeah, and I mean I've bought quite a few Maddens throughout the years. 08, I think 010. I did buy Madden 25. Madden 15, Madden 20. I think I bought Madden 9. I've bought, quite a few of them. But ever since they become more copy and paste, I usually buy one Madden, wait a couple years, and then buy another one, then wait a couple years and buy another one.
Yeah.
I'm not spending that much money every year buying it.
Yeah, especially since now they're going to start doing signing dollars because that's what they did with 2K.
Well, they better bring back some of the other modes. Or they took some, I forgot what they took from the franchise mode. But
did they remove game modes?
They removed a lot of stuff from that.
That sounds like Battlefield 2042.
I'm so mad at that game too. But the gameplay in Madden nowadays sucks because you can run the same play over and over again, and the defense doesn't do anything. AI, they don't block, receivers or anything. And if you're playing offense,
that sounds like EA copy and paste. At this point. That's really unfortunate.
Offense, if you throw to a player and you push triangle or Y to be aggressive and catch the ball, the defender will go up and catch the ball while your receiver just stands there and looks dumb. The gameplay is so broken that it makes
really
the game
disappointing.
Yeah, it really doesn't make the game fun. So that's why. Unless you're playing against, the AI and make it an authentic football experience, if you're playing against other players, you just can't have fun because they'll run the same plays over and over again, and there's no skill to it.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to 08 and childhood and stuff like that, that's completely valid.
Yeah.
So, and you said that was your number 10?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can determine which one of these would be my number 10. Probably this one, actually. My number 10 would probably be Grime. Now, this is a relatively recent indie-developed Metroidvania. Now, if you were to ask me my favorite Metroidvania, I would probably say Hollow Knight, even though Hollow Knight's not on this list.
Okay.
But I enjoyed playing Grime more, and I actually finished Grime. Hollow Knight's way big, and there are some things about it that are just too challenging for me to invest time in.
Yeah.
So I did actually beat Hollow Knight once. Yes, I did beat it once, but I didn't get up to 112% like I wanted to. I think I might have got up to like 106. Either way, like if you were to ask me my favorite Metroidvania just explicitly, it's probably Hollow Knight.
Mm-hmm.
But on this list, I'm going to say Grime because I definitely think this game deserves a shout out. If you enjoy 2D Metroid games, like if you played Metroid Dread, the one that just came out, Grime looks similar to Metroid in, the way that it utilizes its 2D and stuff like that. So I actually haven't played any Metroid or Castlevania games, but Grime is probably the game that I would put here. I spent how many hours? I don't remember how many hours it was. It was somewhere between 20 and 30 hours, but I 100%ed the whole game, beat all the bosses, got all the collectibles, 100%ed, got all the achievements and everything. And I'm going to be going through a second playthrough soon to record all of my footage because I didn't record the first playthrough, but I'm going to record it so I can do a critical analysis.
Right.
This podcast comes out in March.
Yeah, March.
The third week of March. And so the critical analysis for Grime will probably be coming out in, I want to say May, I think. So the fourth Friday of May. But I'm going to be going through and recording a second playthrough of it because I enjoyed it so much, and I can't wait for the devs to implement a New Game Plus.
Right.
Because I want to play it on New Game Plus instead of just starting over again. But they're working on a massive DLC expansion and stuff like that, and I cannot wait for it. It was a game that I started playing on Christmas, right around Christmas-ish. Somewhere in late December. And finished right around Christmas time. So in the space of a week or something, I spent like 20 or 30 hours in it and finished the whole thing, and I absolutely loved it. Like if you want a 2D Metroidvania game, that I think focuses a little bit more on combat than than the movement, because that's my one gripe with the game is that movement options are a little bit limited, and it takes a long time to get certain movement options that you feel like should be obtained a lot earlier. Which, whatever, but that's my only gripe with the game is that. But I just enjoyed playing it so much, so that's probably my number 10.
All right. My number 9 is Spider-Man.
Huh? Did I miscount something? Oh no, there's 9 left. Never mind. Okay, I'm stupid. Sorry.
You're good. My number 9 is Spider-Man.
Is that the PS4 one?
The PS4.
2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miles Morales. I guess that should have gone in as honorable mention. It wasn't a horrible game at all, but I like the Spider-Man PS4 story a lot more.
Oh yeah.
That's one story game that I played absolutely 100% of the way through and would be willing to play again.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because there's a lot of story games that, once I play through it once, I'm not really likely to go back and play it again, but Spider-Man is definitely one of them in IMAX. And the combat, everything about the game is pretty good.
The combat is so good.
The combat is smooth, and it's, really nice. And it has me looking forward to the sequel, Spider-Man 2, coming out.
Yeah. And it was nice to get that reveal. That'll be...
Yeah, and I'm not really into this, other than the Batman series, like superhero games, I'm not really into, but Spider-Man is probably one of my absolute favorite game. So
that makes sense. So, yeah, and I'll be talking about this a little bit later on the list, hint, because I also have it on mine. So that was your number 9?
Yeah.
My number 9 is probably going to be Spore Hero. Now, this is a Wii game. All of my childhood nostalgia games are going to be Wii games because that's what we had. We had a Xbox 360 for a couple months before it died.
Right.
And then we just had a Wii, and that died, and then a few years later we got a Wii U. So we could play all of our old Wii games.
That's fair.
But Spore Hero was one that my brother Brady got, like, a long time ago. Back in probably Christmas, probably like 2009 or something like that. Maybe it was for his birthday or something. But it was a game that he had, but I've played through probably 3 or 4 times over the years. It's a very easy and short game. Like, a lot of people are probably vaguely familiar with the idea of Spore because there's a game called Spore.
I used to play Spore on my friend's PC.
Yeah, and I don't have any idea how
the game, but I do remember enjoying it. It doesn't make my list because I don't remember a whole lot about the game.
And I don't have any idea how similar Spore Hero is to Spore. All I know is that Spore Hero on the Wii, it was a very fun game for me. And it was one that I played, a few different times over the course of a few summers back in junior high school and early high school because it at the time it was like, well, this game I haven't played yet, but I watched my brother play several years ago, so let's play this. And I did, and I just loved it. And I played through and technically 100%ed it a few times. One that I would be willing to do again.
That's fair.
So
we're really on number 8 now?
Yep, this should be number 8.
Okay, Rust.
Okay, I predicted that this would be somewhere on the list. I was going to make a joke to you earlier and be like, is Rust going to be on this list?
Yeah, no, it definitely is because I love the toxic atmosphere.
You know what? That's Lane Croats for you.
Yeah, I can go around and be an asshole, and it's a part of the game. I can, it's a game that my friends and I can hop on and have fun with, and I mean, it's just a fun game overall. The combat's pretty fun. The building your base type of thing, the survival mode or the survival aspect to it is pretty fun.
You kind of made this game your personality a couple times for different reasons. Like, I need to get a new PC so that I can play Rust.
Well, I had Rust
and
on
then
PC.
As soon as you got your PS5, as soon as you got it, I'm downloading Rust.
Yes, because my PC was having a hard time running it.
Because it didn't have RAM, yeah.
I don't have enough RAM, and I didn't buy it on PS4 just because I was like, the PS4 probably couldn't handle Rust that well. So I got my PS5. Literally, as soon as I got my PS5, I downloaded Rust. Yeah. And I tell you.
And you showed me a few clips of some really strange shit happening, and yeah, not my thing. I think that's one of the main differences between you and me. You play a lot of big, open, like fully free games, and then a lot of multiplayer games.
Multiplayer is where I get a lot of my kicks in games because it's
I play primarily story games, single player story.
I love single player games, but
interactions with people.
Interactions with people, whether they be, sometimes wholesome, sometimes it's really toxic, going at each other's throats. It's fun. There's, in Rust, it's amazing because at the beginning, I can go around and get along with people, or I can just. I like that it's one of the few games that has proximity chat. Proximity chat is an amazing thing because I stood outside this guy's door with a gun and was just talking to him through the wall. And I was like, just open your door, buddy. I'll end you quickly. Like, I was talking him into letting me fucking kill him and take his shit. And he opened it, and like 3 other guys come out that I didn't know that were in there. And they killed me, took all this shit, and then they found my base and wrecked my base and took all my shit. I spent a week before the reset or the wipe happened just trying to take down their base. They defeated me the entire time. The issue, I don't play much Rust. So when I play Rust, I have to make sure I have a week to play it because it does take over my life. That's why I haven't played it in a couple weeks, because it's like I don't want to start Rust again.
You could stream it.
I could.
Oh, and by the way, if you want to watch Lane do random shit on his channel, it's Gamer Joke. I'll link it in the description. He's been streaming recently. Started streaming because he got good enough internet to do it.
Yeah. And I've been streaming Apex. I'm playing that game super competitively lately.
Yeah, so if you want to see him play Apex or other random multiplayer games or just stream something every once in a while,
yeah,
you can go subscribe to his channel. Go do it.
But yeah, Rust, because it's toxic and just a lot of fun. I can have a lot of fun interactions with people. So
okay, fair enough. My number 8. Let's see. What am I going to put here? Let's put Mario Kart Wii. It's going to be my number 8. I am wholeheartedly of the opinion that Mario Kart Wii is the best Mario Kart.
I haven't played much of the Mario Kart, so.
And I haven't played. I
have a Switch. I should.
Like, I've barely played any Mario Karts other than Wii. But when it comes to Mario Kart Wii versus Mario Kart 8,
right,
Wii has it in the bag. Like, it is just so much more enjoyable to play. Like, there's a lot of reasons for it. Like, part of it's nostalgia.
Right.
Some of the courses that are on Wii that aren't on 8 are just fantastic. Like, Mario Kart Wii's Rainbow Road is the best Rainbow Road. I do not care. Like, do not at me. It is the best Rainbow Road. It is also the hardest Rainbow Road, and I love it so much because I'm really good at it, and I almost never get beat in it. I spent many hours of my childhood mastering that race. So the only time I perform bad on that race is when I just get bum-fucked by the AI.
That's fair.
So
red shells?
Usually blue shells.
Oh, blue shells. That's
red shells often don't do much on that specific course because there's a lot of rings and stuff that break shells.
Okay.
But when it comes to blue shells and stuff like sometimes I get bum-fucked by the AI or sometimes other players. Like occasionally it happens, but I almost never get anything less than first in that race. But I'm just going to say Mario Kart Wii, I absolutely fucking love it. And even the Mario Kart Wii tracks that appear in Mario Kart 8 are better on the Wii. For some reason, the things that they do with adding a time of day and certain artistic styles and stuff look better in Mario Kart 8, but the charm of the Wii is there for me.
Right.
And when it comes to actually playing the game, if you're performing cups and just performing against the AI, 8 is just so boringly easy.
Yeah.
Like, it is boringly easy.
I get that.
Mario Kart Wii is pretty difficult. You have to actually try to get through all the different cups. You have to try to get through the CCs. Even as somebody who's played and put hundreds of hours into the game and more or less mastered it, once you get up into 150cc and mirror mode, you can perform bad in some cups.
Yeah. Okay.
In Mario Kart 8, the only thing that really makes me perform bad is 200cc when you're just going so fast that you have to be braking more than you are accelerating. That's really the only thing that makes that game hard for me.
That's fair.
But I just love Mario Kart Wii. It's one of the best racing games ever. It's also a fun party game when my brothers aren't criticizing me for being good. I'm kidding. They criticize me for being stupid. But either way, it's probably my favorite. And I gotta say, yeah, number 8 on this list, I think it fully deserves it. Even if just for childhood. Like, I would go back and play through the whole game again if I wanted to. More so over 8 any day.
Fair enough.
So,
on to number 7. My number 7 is Fortnite.
get out of my house. I say as I'm in your house. It's my house now. Oh,
Not
wait, I don't want to
Fortnite in the condition or the state that it's in right now.
Dude, the first 5 chapters of season 1 Fortnite.
Seasons, not chapters. We're only in chapter 3 of Fortnite.
Oh, okay. The first 5 seasons of chapter 1 Fortnite.
I downloaded Fortnite because Battle Royale interested in me, but I didn't have a PC at the time to play PUBG, and PUBG wasn't on console yet. So the day Fortnite dropped...
Well, PUBG was on Xbox, remember, because you got that Xbox, but then...
I ended up buying an Xbox just for PUBG, but when Fortnite dropped, it was only, a PC game. PUBG was. So, and I loved the concept of Battle Royales, because one of my favorite all-time minigames was Minecraft Hunger Games. I used to play that for 8 hours a day. So I loved the concept of Battle Royales or Hunger Game type games. So when Fortnite dropped, I downloaded it day 1. And it was refreshing because my friends and I were playing the same boring old games, all the time. Fortnite was a breath of fresh air when it
And
first
honestly,
came out.
I loved Fortnite in those first few seasons.
Right.
After it got past season 4 and 5, when it blew up and the community became super toxic, that's when Fortnite fell off.
I stopped playing Chapter 2, Season 1. Because Season 3 and 4, it wasn't about just having fun anymore. I was playing that shit competitively. Yes. I was putting...
You had videos on your YouTube that you performed rather well at sometimes. There were several where you got number 2.
Yeah. I, even nowadays, because I started playing Fortnite again this week, after, going a year without playing, my building skills, I can still edit fast, build fast, but back when I was playing super competitively, I was playing in, the world, not the World Cups, but, the ranked...
Yeah.
Whatever, I forgot what they're called. But I was playing that game 8 hours a day. I probably have... How many hours did my PlayStation 5?
I think it was 1,056 hours or something.
I think it was close to 12. It was 1,200 something.
Oh, was it? It might have been 1,256.
And...
Either way, he has well over 1,000 hours in Fortnite.
Yeah.
And it's believable. In our 8th grade... Not 8th grade. In our sophomore year was when it came out and when it was starting to get popular, and that was around the time that you dropped out. Yeah. And then you were playing that game a lot after you dropped out.
Oh yeah, I was playing 8 hours a day trying to get better at it, and I put about $350-$400 into skins and whatnot, and the most money I've ever put into a game. I regret doing it, but
yeah. And I mean, remembering the first few seasons of Chapter 1.
Yeah.
Was an amazing, fantastic.
A breath of fresh air. It was a game that my friends and I could play constantly and have a good time with.
Yeah. Oh, how sad that such a well-needed breath of fresh air in the multiplayer sphere.
Yeah.
Turned into.
And now we're back to square one.
Yeah.
Breath of fresh air. But
yeah, I'm glad that Fortnite doesn't dominate the sphere the way that it did 3 years ago.
And it's still fun. I'm playing it, I still play it. I don't play it competitively anymore.
And I can understand why people still play it for sure. I would like to play it if it weren't for how good everybody is and how toxic a lot of the community is now. Well, I like that
because since I haven't played in a while, I'm just in a lobby with 3 other players, but the rest of them are just bots.
Yeah.
And it makes the game more enjoyable for me because I can just play casually and I don't have to constantly be playing for 12 hours a day just to keep my skills up.
When I got my PS4, which was his old PS4, at the end of 2019, I downloaded Fortnite because it was free. And I played one game. It was just my first game, so it was with basically just bots. But I got Victory Royale, and then I was like, okay, I'm done with this game now. Then I uninstalled it.
That's fair. But it was a breath of fresh air and a game that didn't bore me after a week of playing, and that's why it made my list.
Absolutely fair. So, okay, so number 7 for me... Yeah, so number 7 is going to be Jurassic the Hunted. This is another Wii game. It exists on Xbox 360, I think, as well as maybe PlayStation 3, maybe. I don't know. Very small underground game. I don't know if I know anybody personally who's ever heard of this game.
The only thing I've heard of it is when you uploaded a video of it to YouTube.
Oh, that was a hell of a long time ago.
I watched it
on a different channel.
Yeah, I watched it and... didn't seem like something I would be interested in, but I mean, I could see
it's literally
my kid self enjoying
the game. I could play the game with the cutscenes and everything, 2.5 hours long. Really short.
Oh, okay.
If you skip the cutscenes, I speed ran it to about 2 hours and 2 minutes, skipping the cutscenes.
Okay. So it's a very short game.
It's a very short game, and there are massive frame issues in 2 specific portions of the game that I know like the back. I know that game like the back of my hand.
Okay.
When it comes to just a game where you can just not like Ark Survival Evolved.
Right.
That's a survival game. This is Jurassic the Hunted is just a first-person shooter where your enemies are dinosaurs, and it's fucking amazing. Like,
is it like one of those games that you go to in an arcade and they have like those guns?
Oh no, it's a lot better than that.
Is it a lot better than that? Okay.
Okay, because
one
of these days,
I used to go to arcades aren't a thing anymore.
Well, I know. I mean, they are, but they aren't.
They are, but they aren't. When I was a kid, I used to go to the arcade. It wasn't, of course, I had my PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360, but I loved going to the arcade, putting a couple quarters in, and just playing games.
For sure, and I mean, like, one of these days, since the game's only 2.5 hours, one of these days I ought to set up the Wii on my gaming setup and record it and just play with you there watching.
Oh yeah.
And stuff, like, just kind of get some shit. Oh shit, I fucking stopped recording. Whoops.
Yes,
it's recording again.
Okay.
Yes. I'm gonna go back to what I was saying. It's a game that one of these days I should just have you come over and we can just like get a head jack splitter.
Okay.
And just both listen to it while I play and record through the whole game because it's fun. It's pretty cheesy and campy. It's not the best humor. It's got a couple performance issues, but man, it was so fun.
Right.
Like, it was the first T-rated game I was ever allowed to play because I was somebody who wasn't allowed to even play most T games.
And here I was at 8 years old playing Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, and I couldn't do that if I wanted to. But Jurassic the Hunted was just fun. Like, just being a first-person game and hunting dinosaurs. And I came up with my perfect play style. Like, every time I would play through the game, I would collect the weapons in the same order and choose different weapons and collect ammo in certain ways. Like, I don't know it that well anymore because it's been years since I played it.
Right.
So it'd probably take a playthrough for me to remember where everything is and remember what exactly I liked to do in terms of my playstyle. But it's a fun game. I have such fond memories for it. Like, if I were to go back and play it now, it probably wouldn't hold up quite as much as I want it to.
Right.
Compared to a lot of games that I played recently. But I highly doubt that I would ever dislike it. Like, the only thing that I can hold against it right now, just thinking about it, is that it didn't perform super well. It was a Wii game.
Wii games didn't perform well.
Exactly. So, like, I'm super lenient.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was 2 areas where frames would just drop like a motherfucker.
Okay.
But I knew those 2 areas and knew how to handle them despite the frame drops. So I've never... That's really worried about it, but I loved that game. So that was my number...
We're on
7?
7, yeah.
Okay, so we're on 6 now.
My number 6 is Detroit Become Human.
Okay, I didn't put this on my list, but that should definitely be an honorable mention. I don't know why I forgot about this. One of the best stories.
Yes, and the fact that there's so many different endings, like,
yes.
You can't just get the same ending. Well, I mean,
even other Quantic Dream games where you can select different paths and stuff. Even Beyond Two Souls, which I've played, which has different endings, most of those endings don't vary too much. Like, once you get halfway through the game, your choices start to matter on which direction you go in terms of the ending.
Right.
And some decisions will matter. But Detroit Become Human is entirely different because there's dozens of actual endings.
Yeah. I fell in love with the characters, and I actually cared about what happened to them, and it puts you in stressful moments where you have to make quick decisions that can just completely change your game.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Yeah. It handled quick time events perfectly. Yeah. For a 2018 game, best looking game. Yeah. Period. Like, the only game that comes close is maybe Uncharted 4 for how good it looked in 2015. I'm
excited for Quantum Dream's new Star
Wars game. That'll be cool to see what they do with that. Like, if they decide to do the same gameplay style, depending on the story that they do, I wouldn't be mad either. Yeah. Like, a lot of people call David Cage, who's the writer for Quantic Dream games, a lot of people call him pretentious, and I see why. And they're just like, he's a bad writer. It's just like, I don't agree. I can see why you would think he's pretentious, but I really like his stories. Yeah. And the fact that Detroit Become Human had a 3,000+ page script.
Yeah. That's insane.
That's insane.
That is insane.
That is so much time to spend into a game, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
Once you've played through it several times, there are some scenes that don't have very much expansion that get a little bit tedious to play. I've not 100%ed it, like gotten like every single path.
Felt like a movie.
Yes, very much a movie. Basically. Yeah, and I mean that's something that a lot of a lot of one single player story games are these days.
Yeah,
but they're more cinematic. This one is more you are the person. The camera is you.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're also controlling 3 different people.
True,
and it's
the fact that those.
It's so good. I don't know why I didn't think of this game. This game would probably be easily top 10 for me.
Right.
Like probably top 5.
I'm surprised you didn't put it on either.
I can't believe I forgot about this game. This was one I platinumed. So I haven't gotten all of the paths yet. I haven't done 100% of everything. It would be difficult. You have to be very tedious and specific about where you start and checkpointing and stuff like that. So I don't care to do that, but I got the platinum at least. I got like 70% of the trophies in my first playthrough.
Nice.
Which was really cool. But this game, Detroit Become Human, would probably be my top 5 if I had remembered
One thing that I didn't put on my list was God of War.
Oh, so, did you forget that?
I forgot that one, which is my favorite, one of my favorite game series of all time.
Okay, yeah.
So that's also an honorable mention, but we'll talk
top 10. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, it is on my list.
We can talk about that later.
I will say Detroit Become Human. If I had remembered it, top 5. Easily.
Yeah, it's a great game.
I can't believe I forgot it
yet. I think it's on PC now too, isn't it?
I think it got ported to PC recently.
Either way, it's worth picking up a PlayStation 4 console just to play that game.
Yes. There are so many PlayStation exclusives that are worth getting a PlayStation just to get.
God of War, Detroit Become Human,
Spider-Man.
We'll
talk about more. Like, there are tons of them. Like, yeah, that's a whole discussion for a whole different day, which we could probably talk about.
True.
Sometime on the podcast. But yeah, Detroit Become Human, super good. And you said that was your number 6?
Yes.
Very much worth. It would probably be my number 4 if I'd remembered it, to be brutally honest. So, my number 6. I have to decide between a couple of these. Do I want to pick the one that I think is better or the childhood nostalgia? I'll go with the one that I think is better for my number 6. Actually, never mind. I'll go with childhood nostalgia. I didn't order these games. I ordered them in certain categories. So number 6 for me is going to be Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga.
Okay.
Childhood nostalgia. I think if I had to pick the game that I spent the most hours in, this is probably it. The only one that would come close is Mario Kart Wii.
That's fair.
But Lego Star Wars, over the years, I've probably put close to 1,000, maybe more hours in it. And for a game like this, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So many different playthroughs, so many different times trying to 100% it and stuff like that, where each playthrough is, 50 hours or something like that. And just so much time. Like, there's so many things I could say about this game that I absolutely love. I'm excited for the Skywalker Saga coming out soon. All I know is that it's going to be...
I feel like that might be one, because I don't like Lego games.
That's fair.
The only ones that I played were the Star Wars ones. I had a Star Wars game on my, I think it was episodes 4, 5, and 6 on my Nintendo DS. And I loved that. And then I had the Clone Wars Lego game.
So you had Lego Star Wars 1 and 3.
3, yeah.
Because I think
and I
2
love
was
those,
the prequels.
But Lego games in general, I just do not like.
And that's fair. The only Lego games that I got super into were this one and Lego Indiana Jones 2
I played
with...
I played Lego Indiana Jones with my friends on the Xbox. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with Lego games, but...
I played Indiana Jones 2 with Trenton.
Okay.
Between the years of 4th and 5th grade, every single day, not counting Sundays,
right,
every single day during the summer between 4th and 5th grade, I was at either Gage's or Trenton's house doing something. And every time I went to Trenton's, a lot of times we would play Wii games, and plenty of the time it was Lego Indiana Jones. We probably came to like 99% completion. The only reason we couldn't get 100 was because of one thing that we had found one time that we couldn't access. We couldn't find again for some reason.
Huh.
It was one thing, but it was so fun. But either way, Lego Star Wars Complete Saga is easily on this list, even if just for nostalgia. Like, just The Lego humor, when it comes to the non-voice acted Lego humor, on point, super good.
Yeah.
Being a big Star Wars fan, obviously, this game meant a lot.
Well, that's why I like the Lego games.
Yeah, and this being one of the few games that I was allowed to play as a kid.
Right.
Even only being able to play for 1 hour a week for part of my childhood, and like during the summertime, in between school years, only being able to play 1 hour a day at most. It was, even with those types of restrictions, I've still spent probably somewhere close to 1,000 hours in this game. Like, I don't know how to just say how much I like this game. I just love it.
That's fair.
It's a very, very fun game. It's one of the best Lego games. Easily.
That was your number 6, right?
Yeah, that was my number 6. So.
Number 5. Mine is The Last of Us.
Okay.
That's my number 5.
This is a little bit higher up on my list, but
I figured. But the story,
it's so good.
And for some reason, I prefer stories when the world is like apocalyptic or
you like post-apocalyptic?
Yeah, post-apocalyptic. And
see, I am very skeptical about a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff. Here's the deal. Lane he owned The Last of Us.
Yeah.
He owned it, like, and had it downloaded. He got
Yeah.
He bought a PS4 Slim.
Yeah, that's
to replace his old PS4 because it was too loud for YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be in his recordings, and he didn't like that. So he gave it to me. And with his PS4 Slim came a copy of God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and The Last of Us.
That's right.
Yeah. You already owned The Last of Us, so you gave me the disc for The Last of Us. And I was like, but this is just... I didn't know anything about the game. I was like, but isn't this just a zombie game? I don't care. But on the front of this, it was like, won over 200 Game of the Year awards. And I'm like, this is just a zombie game, but I'm going to have to give this a try.
Didn't we play it at the same time?
Pretty much the same time.
Yeah, and I completed the game in like 8 hours or something like that.
And I took like 18.
He takes his time. Because when I'm into a story, I don't take the time to look at my surroundings and search everything. I want to continue the story.
Meanwhile, I like to search everything because it provides a lot of basis for stuff. But then again, I'm also a completionist at heart. Lane is not at all. Yeah. So those two different play styles definitely match stuff. So like I had looked up like, okay, so how long is The Last of Us to play? And like how long to beat? Said like 12 hours. And I was like, okay. So I got to 12 hours and I'm like, this doesn't seem like the end. Get to 14. I'm like, this should be getting done soon. Get to 16. I'm like, I'm still not done yet. I get to 18 and that's when the end starts to happen. And I'm like, this took me a lot longer than I thought it would. But I'm not complaining. Such a good game. It is a good game.
Yes. One of my
favorites. I don't want to say too much because we'll get into this a little bit later.
Right.
But it is a very good game.
Yes, it is. One of my absolute favorites, story game wise.
When it comes to stories, it definitely comes to the top.
And the second one.
I don't want to get too much into the second one, but saying it was a disappointment is an understatement.
Yeah,
I was for various reasons. I have a video on this channel, a critical analysis video of The Last of Us 2. I still think the video holds up. It's a little bit long-winded in a couple places where I could have cut down stuff because I said the same thing a couple different times. But that video still holds up. It's like 30, maybe 35 minutes long. 32, I think it is. 32 minutes long.
I've watched it.
It was my first critical analysis. It's probably one of the 2 or 3 best ones that has been released. I'm still very proud of that video. So go watch that if you want to hear my thoughts on the game.
And his thoughts pretty much align with mine.
Yeah, more or less. Especially since he didn't play it.
I didn't play it, but I watched gameplay on it, and then I was looking at reviews, and it ultimately made me decide not to play it.
I did not actually play the game, but I watched a playthrough of 100% of the game twice. I watched 2 full 100% playthroughs of The Last of Us 2. So even though I didn't play it, I have the right to make the critical analysis on it. I will say that. That's because I didn't go into gameplay.
Right.
I didn't go into gameplay in that video. It was only about the story.
I heard the gameplay was pretty good.
It was basically an expansion on the first. So a lot of people liked it more than the firsts. Some people liked the first better because of charm and stuff like that. But I didn't talk about the gameplay because I didn't play it, but because I experienced the full story twice. I had every right to make a video on it.
Going back, when I said Spider-Man was one of the story games that I'd be willing to play through again, because a lot of story games I just don't go back and play through again. The Last of Us would be one that I would consider playing through.
Yes.
At least one more time. I'm letting enough time pass because it's been, I want to say, 2 years.
And I'll say it's been long enough that if you play it again, it'll hit you just as hard.
Yeah. I like to let a few years
Probably the best ending to a video game. Best
I
ending
know.
to any movie or
Ends in our
video game
state.
or anything. It does end in our state.
Yeah.
Yes. It takes place partially in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool to have Wyoming be in a video game
know.
so acclaimed as this.
Well,
that's probably the
our
only
state is going to be the best state, one of the best states to live in if the apocalypse happens, if a zombie apocalypse were to happen.
For many reasons, yes.
So makes sense, but at the
yeah,
same
like
time, it's like cool.
yeah, the main thing is one of the best endings to a story, period.
Oh,
Whether
yeah.
video game or movie or book or anything.
Arguably did not need the sequel in general.
It didn't need the sequel. That's one of the reasons why I'm very like I don't like the sequel at all, like the story of it, and I'm just grateful that it never soured my experience on The Last of Us.
That's
Because the first game is still very good.
Yeah.
And that's where we'll leave it because we'll talk about it a little bit more in a bit. And you said that was your number 5?
Yes.
Okay. That's a pretty good place, actually. So my number 5, I'm going to go ahead and put The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is the only Zelda game I've played. So you won't see Majora's Mask, you won't see Wind Waker, you won't see Twilight Princess, you won't see Ocarina of Time especially. I've not played any of those games. This is the only one I've played, so by obligation, this is the one of the series that goes on here. But this was, so I mentioned that I had a Wii as a kid.
Right.
We had an Xbox 360 for a little bit before it died. The Wii died, but then we got a Wii U so that we could continue playing Wii games on it. The very first console or game or anything like that I ever got of my own, like period of my own, that wasn't just one of the games that we had for the Wii, because I have a couple games on the Wii that are technically mine.
Right.
I got a Switch. I bought in 2017. Not 2017, it was the middle of 2018. So it was around a year after the Switch came out. April-ish of 2018, I bought myself a Switch. I spent the $400 to get a Switch and get Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild with both of the expansion packs.
I regret spending $500 when I went to Logan for getting the Switch, Super Mario Maker.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I regret it because I just don't play the Switch at all. I've played maybe a total of 4 hours.
Oof.
And that was $500 just down the drain. I was like, I thought I was going to play more because Mario was one of my childhood games, but...
And that's fair. Super Mario Bros. Was one of mine.
The new Super Mario Bros. For Wii
Yeah.
and whatnot, I 100%ed that game.
I haven't 100%ed it, but I 100%ed it all the way up to World 8.
I probably put close
the
to
Star
500
World.
hours into that.
Yeah, the Star World World 9, I never...
I had
got
all
all
3
the
stars.
Yeah, I couldn't...
On every single...
Those levels were too hard for me, but... like I said, the Switch, I spent the $400 to get the Switch and Legend of Zelda with the expansion packs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I proceeded to spend 180 hours 100%ing not all the Korok seeds. I did not get all the Korok seeds. And there was one other thing about the 100% that I technically didn't do. I forget what it was. But there were 2 aspects of a technical 100% that I didn't do. But otherwise, I 100%ed this game and all the DLC. I did all the trials. I got basically, it was the compendium. I didn't do that one either. So other than the Korok seeds and the compendium, I 100%ed everything, and I loved every minute of it. Okay. So it was the first game that was like mine, and my first console.
Right.
So it means a lot to me for that, and it also was there for me during a lot of time being separated from.
Right.
Yeah, and just a lot of problems in that sphere, so it was kind of my escape, and I just loved it so much. Such a fun experience. Like, I 100%ed everything. I started a playthrough on master mode that I never finished, but then I started the second playthrough that I didn't finish, and then like a year later I started another playthrough that I got like halfway through that I still haven't finished again. But like, it's just one of those games where it's like, if I want to just play something where I can like listen to music or just watch stuff or something like that and not give a fuck about what's going on in the game,
right,
Breath of the Wild is that.
Okay.
Like, when it
That
comes
makes
to
sense.
exploration and just being able to do shit,
Right.
few games do it the way that Breath of the Wild does. Like, one of the complaints about some of the recent Assassin's Creed games, like Odyssey or whatnot.
Mhm.
It's like the world is so expansive and you can go like you can just kind of skip through everything. It's like nothing really matters. In Breath of the Wild, you can climb anything and everything, which is a complaint against Odyssey that some people make, is that you can climb almost anything. And it doesn't make sense. Zelda does the climb almost anything well, because you look at something, it's just like, I want to climb that.
Right.
And you go and you climb it. And then the rain fucks you over. And then you say, I want to go climb that. And then you go and climb it and the rain fucks you over. But
fair.
the game it's just so fun. Like
Okay.
everybody who's played this
I
game
have
knows
it.
why
Haven't
it's
played it
good.
yet.
Like if there was anything that you would enjoy on your Switch, I would highly recommend playing Breath of the Wild. Because if nothing else, it's got really fun gameplay.
Okay.
Like there are a couple
It
minor
might be one of
flaws
those
with
games
it.
that I might play when I'm laying in bed. That's why. That's
It's
why I got the
definitely a
Switch.
good game for that.
Yeah.
It is a good game
That's
for that.
why. That's also part of the reason why I got the Switch, because to lay down and instead of being on my phone, maybe just play video games and not have to constantly sit at my desk.
Yeah, and that's absolutely fair too. So
But yeah. All right.
that was my number 5.
Number 5.
Yep.
All right. My number 4 is the Grand Theft Auto series, specifically San Andreas and GTA 5.
Okay.
San Andreas for the childhood nostalgia, because I'd go over to my friends. Other than Madden 08, we played San Andreas.
Okay. Yeah.
And, getting the 6 stars and trying to see how long you can survive the
Oh,
cops.
there's 6 stars in that one?
GTA 5 is the only GTA that has 5 stars. The rest of them have 6.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
And I've not played any GTA.
They're fun.
I've
so
maybe
fun.
played like 2 minutes of GTA 5 back in Lane's old place.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
But-
maybe that much.
San Andreas, and then I bought myself a copy and played through the story. Amazing story. GTA does have amazing stories, And so that one for childhood nostalgia. GTA 5 because when I first moved here, I went a period of about 2 years when I didn't have internet, and I played through the GTA 5 story 7 times.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
I miss the old days when you didn't have internet, so you just played shit that didn't require online.
yeah,
When online gaming was a novelty.
yeah,
Like, we're
Yeah.
barely old enough to remember that.
Yeah.
Most people in the Zoomer generation don't remember that. Like, anybody born in even a couple years after us, they don't know a time without internet.
right. Well, and GTA
And, like, we
5
don't either, but gaming didn't really...
online
Gaming didn't revolve
was-
around online until the early 10s.
Yeah, and GTA 5, since I didn't have internet, the story was good enough for me to play it through 7 times. And even when you're not playing the story, the world is just so massive that you can go do random things. You can run from the car, basic GTA
Yeah.
shit. It's a very fun game, and
It's
with
not my
GTA
style of game, but I absolutely understand.
It
why
was
it's
also
so
a
hyped.
game that when I finally got internet, GTA Online,
Yeah.
my friends and I could get on and play for 8 to 10 hours straight. Of just,
Exactly, yeah.
Like robbing banks, having fun, wrecking cars.
Like, it's definitely not my type of game, but I 100% respect it.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it's obviously as popular as it is
just
for a reason.
grinding, getting a new car, driving it on the streets. I have a Lambo that I
One of my-
grinded for months for, and
I just remember a moment in a Smitty video, one of these past few months, where Grizzy hired a hitman on him.
yeah,
And he is completely silent, and he goes and he buys a penthouse up in the middle of nowhere, just an underground bunker, and gets an orbital station thing so that he can target a missile to go to Grizzy, and he spent millions of dollars on this just to do that because Grizzy hired a hitman on him, and I just love that moment.
yeah.
Like, you can do that. kind
There's
of
so
shit.
many-
It's funny.
Like even with how old the game is, GTA Online still has you can have new moments like that.
Yeah, and people
And-
still make content on GTA Online too.
And it's
Like,
a game that I still play to this day.
And you played it a few times on your channel back several years
Oh, yeah.
ago, and I liked
I
watching those videos.
did funny moment videos, and I mean they were a lot of fun to make.
Yeah.
Like, it's a game that you can get on and just have fun with. And that was before Fortnite came out, and when GTA was getting stale, then Fortnite was that new breath of fresh air.
That's fair too. So,
So
and that was your number 4?
Yeah.
Okay. This is my number 4. My number 5, which was Breath of the Wild, and number 4 could be the same, but interchangeable because one of them's childhood nostalgia and one of them's recent. This one, number 4, childhood nostalgia related, is Need for Speed Carbon.
Okay.
Now, most people's favorite Need for Speed, I think, is Undercover. No, Undercover is the really old one. It's Most Wanted.
Oh.
Most Wanted, the first one from like 04 or 02, 03, something like that. That's the most popular one as far as I'm aware. And fair enough. That game and Carbon are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very similar. But Carbon was the one that I had for the Wii. And I don't know if I would like this game not on the Wii. Like, I could download a ROM and emulate this game and get a 4K, get certain mods, 4K and 60 FPS mods on it.
Right.
And I'm like, I want to do this because it looks so good on PC with the mods and stuff. But I'm like, I wouldn't enjoy playing this game not on Wii because the Wii controls
are awful. I remember buying a Madden for the Wii.
Well, here's the thing. Because, no, Wii controls are hit or miss depending on the game. But the Wii controls for this game were so fun. You know, when you're playing a racing game on controller, it's really basic. Okay?
Right.
Really, really basic. Like, sometimes it's the controller that makes or breaks an experience. For example, I don't like playing Need for Speed Hot Pursuit on my Switch, even though I loved it on the 360.
That makes
because
sense.
the Switch controller sucks compared to the 360s.
Yeah. Yeah.
For some reason, the way the control settings, there are multiple controller type settings that you can do on the Wii's.
Right.
So you can set it to multiple different configurations. The setting that I used was part of the fun of playing the game. It was, you have the controller down and you accelerate. You have the B that's nitrous and, a couple different brakes and the nunchuck and whatnot. And you pull up and that's the normal brake. Right. And if you pull up aggressively and like just the way that you're moving your hand up and down, depending on where you're trying to go and how you're trying to accelerate and stuff, it has a whole new dynamic that a controller with an accelerate button doesn't give.
That's fair.
And part of that is why I love the game. But the game's campaign is pretty short. The only thing that I don't like about Need for Speed Carbon is that the campaign is too short.
Okay.
But the map is amazing because the map is small enough that you can remember it. That I know that map.
Right.
But it's not so big that it's unmanageable. Like even Hot Pursuit's map is too big and too disconnected for me to really know.
Right.
But like new Need for Speed games, the maps are just ginormous and it's like none of this means anything to me.
Right.
I forget the name of the city. I forget the name of the city in Need for Speed Carbon, but Carbon City.
Mm-hmm.
Such a memorable location. The fact that all of it takes place during the night because it takes place on illegal street racing and you're street racing in the middle of the night. Like just the setting, everything, like it is so good. It is my favorite Need for Speed game. Okay. It's my favorite racing game. So much nostalgia. I will never not have a Wii specifically for this game. Because we had a copy of it, but then one of my brothers took it like many years ago when he had a different Wii and never got it back. And I decided I want to play Need for Speed Carbon again. So for my birthday one year, I just bought myself a copy.
Nice.
And I still love it. Like easily my favorite. Like if you like those early 2000s Need for Speed games, you'll enjoy Carbon to an extent. You might not like it more than some of those other ones.
Right.
But you'll enjoy it. It's 2005. So it's still in that era, but
in general.
And that's fair.
Well, weirdly enough, I'm not a big fan of racing games, but like GTA Online Racing is one of my favorite things. Weirdly enough.
True, that's also fair. But yeah, Need for Speed Carbon for sure.
Right.
Favorite Need for Speed, favorite racing game. Absolutely love it. It's 99% perfect if the campaign was like 5 hours longer.
Okay.
That would be it.
Makes sense. That was your number 4?
Yes.
All right. My number 3 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Black Ops 2.
First Modern Warfare?
The first Modern Warfare. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Okay.
Specifically because of, childhood. I never played Modern Warfare multiplayer too much, but the campaign, I played that game probably 7 or 8 times.
Okay, yeah.
And Black Ops 2 specifically, not for the campaign, but for the zombies and the multiplayer.
Okay, yeah.
Because PS3 days,
that was probably the most popular COD Zombies was Black Ops 2.
Well, Transit, that was my favorite map. Transit and Nuketown Zombies. I was able to get to round 50 to 70 on each of those maps and know all the Easter eggs and all that. And I loved COD Zombies. And, Black Ops 1 Zombies is also quite up there because of, like, there's Holden and a few others. But Zombies was a big part of it, and then multiplayer. I remember staying up on, like, getting off school Friday, getting on my PS3, putting in Black Ops 2, playing multiplayer for hours. Zombies, my friends and I would get on. We'd be like, okay, we're going to dedicate this night and see what round we can get to.
Goodness, my God.
And it was always between round 40 and 70 that we would get to. And keep in mind, that takes hours.
Yeah.
Hours to do.
Oh, I know, because so I have the Modern Warfare 1 campaign remastered.
Yeah.
Or the game remastered, because the full game was remastered. I bought that with Infinite Warfare recently. The only COD campaign that I've played is Modern Warfare 2 remastered.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a bit, and I played through it a couple times. I got the platinum for that.
Modern Warfare 1's campaign is amazing. I remember the first time I played through it on the Xbox 360 before PS3, when the nuke goes off in the city, like, my whole body jumped, and I was like so shocked that this whole city got nuked and my character just died.
Yeah.
It was, it had a lot of surprises, and it was a really good COD game.
Yeah, and so when it comes to my history with COD, the vast majority of the COD that I played, because I wasn't allowed to play, I was my best friend in like 6th through 8th grade. I would go to his house for hours every day, and we would play different games. But most of the time, we spent most of our time on Modern Warfare 3, playing together local multiplayer. Because this was when people started to get tired of the Modern Warfare format.
Right.
And I've heard mixed things about the campaign, but the Renaissance map? I can't remember if that's the name. If that's the name, I don't know how I remember that. But the very first local multiplayer map for, just fighting bots, not zombies or anything like that. But that map, that very first one, we would spend hours on it. And I sucked at the game, okay?
Right.
This friend of mine, he would play with other friends online and stuff, and they would get to around like 25, 30, 35 or something. We would play just over and over, barely making it to 19 or 20. Because I sucked, but we had so much fun.
Right. Well, in zombies, a lot of times we'd only get to round 20, but we'd restart, right again.
Yeah.
There's just something about it, even though it's just very replayable.
Yeah, and even on Modern Warfare.
Even talking about it, I'm half tempted to plug in my PS3, because the only thing I have for it is a Call of Duty Black Ops 2 disc. I don't even have the case for it. The disc is just sitting in the PlayStation 3.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And so I'm half tempted.
Yeah, I need to play Modern Warfare Remastered.
Yeah.
Because I played Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, the campaign Remastered. I enjoyed it a fair bit. I'm
a little afraid to play Black Ops 2 on my PS3 because I've heard there's a lot of hackers now, but...
if you don't play online, if you don't even connect to the internet,
true,
you're fine.
I would more than love to play some just Nuketown Zombies solo. I might do that one night. And now that I can play my PS4 controller on the PS3 because I have my PS3 controller.
Oh yeah, PS DualShock 2 and 3.
They weren't the best. No.
They're bad.
I'm surprised I was good at games back then with those controllers.
Those controllers are so bad.
But yeah, Call of Duty was definitely.
And I can see it. Back a decade ago, COD was good. A decade and a half ago, more like.
Yeah.
Because a decade ago is when it started.
Has gone downhill for sure. Modern Warfare, the newest one that they released, was good. The campaign was good, and the multiplayer, it felt like a game they actually put time into. Black Ops 4 and Black Ops, this new Cold War. Black Ops 4 wasn't horrible by any means. I did like the Battle Royale because I was really into Battle Royales at that point. But the multiplayer sucked in Black Ops 4 because they did the specialist thing.
They didn't even have a campaign.
Yeah. Cold War, I didn't really play through the campaign. I played multiplayer and zombies. I did not have fun on that game at all.
Most people didn't.
Multiplayer was mediocre at best. Zombies.
I remember you said I just bought Cold War because, it's a ritual for me and my friends to buy the new COD.
It was a ritual.
And I was like, you're going to regret that.
It was a ritual to buy. No matter how bad the Call of Duty game was, we would buy it every year and at least play it, because every Call of Duty game, even if it's the same copy and paste, it has that new game thing for at least 2-3 months before you get bored with it. That's what happened with Cold War for the first I want to say 2.5-3 months.
That's where Vanguard fell apart because it didn't even have that hype.
After
Cold War, basically everybody was like, I don't care about the yearly release. Like
and I'm glad that Microsoft bought them and they're not doing yearly releases anymore.
Yeah. Cool.
They still have because they have them planned out, years.
Yeah.
So I think the yearly release will stop in 2024, 2025.
Yeah, but it's
by that time we'll have GTA 6 and Elder Scrolls 6 to hold us over.
Maybe. We'll see.
GTA 6
just got announced. Elder
announced.
Scrolls 6, it might take longer.
We'll see. I'm okay with that.
But we got way off track with that one.
Yeah,
was that your number 3?
Was it? Damn, I kind of went on a rant. Yes.
Okay. My number 3, Marvel Spider-Man. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I spent right around 50 hours 100%ing this full game and all 3 DLC. Okay. This was in February of 2020, right?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, February of 2020, I played this, and I enjoyed myself.
I don't know why
immensely.
I hesitated so long. Because before you even played it, I had another friend, my friend from the UK, who played it, told me it was the best game he ever played. I was like, not into superhero games. You played it, I was like, not into superhero games. And then recently I finally got it and played it. And
it's so good. Like,
yeah.
Look,
it's a game I put off for so
Yuri
long.
Lowenthal's Spider-Man, very good. Yeah. One of the best things that they did for the game was make Spider-Man, and he had already been Spider-Man for 8 years.
Yeah. They better change his face back in Spider-Man 2 because they won't.
No.
I'm going to not play Spider-Man 2.
Like, I'm still going to play it, but I'm going to be upset. Like, I'm still hesitant about playing Miles Morales. They ruined fucking... I know. They made him look like he's 16 years old.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy is in his late 20s. He's been Spider-Man for 8 years.
That's why Miles Morales, that's part of the reason why Miles Morales didn't even make it on my list, just seeing Peter Parker.
I know. I'm so... and I'm like... Yeah. And I'm like, I want a PS5 upgrade of the Spider-Man PS4, but I don't want the new Peter.
No.
Like, I'm still so salty about that. But either way, I absolutely love the game. Story's fantastic. Pacing is very fantastic. Yes. So good. Combat, best fucking combat. Period. I have
combat. The villains.
There's only one game that rivals the combat.
What's that?
And that's my next game.
Okay.
But this, like, okay, I understand the hype behind Arkham completely.
Right.
For some reason, I suck at its combat. I'm just so bad at it. I do not know why, but for some reason, I suck at Arkham. I'm very bad at it.
Twice. That should have been an honorable mention, but I played that as a kid, and that was probably one of my childhood nostalgia games.
Yeah, and I suck at Arkham for whatever reason. Okay. I do not know why. It's probably just because it's a little bit slower. Like, I don't know what it is for sure.
It is a game, so that's... Yeah.
But I suck at its combat so much.
That's fair.
But Spider-Man, I wasn't just okay at it. I wasn't just good at it. I actually excelled.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of a spoiler, I guess, maybe, but if you don't have context, it's not. One of the Sable bases...
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple different ones where I did not get hit once. Just perfected first time encountering the base.
Right.
Would just have a whole combo and would never get hit. Like, I one time got a 150 or 250 hit combo.
I remember you
did not lose the streak, and I barely, like, with a split second, I barely managed to take my phone and take a picture of it before it disappeared.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I was like, I just went through this base. I didn't get hit once. I got a 250 combo. How did I get a 250 hit combo in a game with combat type that I suck at? So a lot of the reason why I love it is because I'm also very good at the combat. It's so enjoyable. So at some point, relatively soonish, I'm going to be replaying the game so that I can play Miles Morales, but also so that I can record it.
Right.
Record footage of it. I love Spider-Man so much.
I'm
not super into superheroes, period.
Right.
But my favorite superhero, Spider-Man, without question. And I mean, if you're watching this video, last or 2 weeks ago's podcast. I think it might have been 2 weeks ago. Either way, the second podcast of, or never mind, it was 2 weeks ago because this is the second podcast of March. Sorry.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we just did a little bit of discussion on Spider-Man No Way Home. I love Spider-Man, but this game,
2 weeks ago,
fantastic.
About an hour for us.
yeah, precisely. But I absolutely love Spider-Man. This game did not disappoint at all, and like the DLC is also really good.
Yeah.
Like I understand why some people had a little bit of complaints because the DLC was like, okay, well this is going to launch this month, and this month, and they were like very soon after launch. So it's like, well, you already have this developed. Why not include it in the game? I know why they made it DLC because it's not part of the story, and you can't just you couldn't just make this stuff side quests. This was after the story, but very, very good and worthy content. So although it's a little bit overpriced DLC if you don't get them combined together on sale,
that's
because $10 each is a bit much. Like maybe $7 each.
But those DLC,
and at this point in time, $5 each is better. But like I got them all for $15 when I got them because they were on sale together.
I don't remember what I paid for the DLCs.
I don't remember either. I don't know if you ever mentioned it, but the DLC also very good. Once you finished the main story and you play through the DLC, it continues the story. There's some great story moments, some great reveals. There's some great things that happen that have huge implications for other games and stuff. And I'm like, so good. I'm very glad that the DLC existed. Like I said, maybe a bit overpriced.
Why would they change the face again? Would they come out and say that they would?
My understanding is that because of Yuri Lowenthal, who's the voice actor, the way his face is shaped doesn't match well enough with the original motion capture guy's face for the enhanced visuals. My understanding is that for the PS5, the way that the graphics and stuff were going to be, they couldn't match the faces close enough to be able to keep the old guy.
They could make him look older though, right? Like they.
Yeah, I know. Like they could have at least made the art. Like they could have used the new guy's face, but edited the model of the face. Like I don't know how to make games, so it's probably more complicated than I think. But I feel like they could have done something to make it closer.
I hope they take because I feel like most people aren't.
Most people aren't happy with it, so I hope they take some criticism and at least try to change it.
Right.
But something tells me they won't because of reasons. But either way,
I'll have to ignore his face and just focus on the story.
Yeah, exactly. Same. Like I'm just gonna have to choose to ignore it and just be like, I'm sorry, Peter, for what they did to you. But
it's like MJ, now you're dating a 16-year-old.
And I mean, I get it. Like even on the Spider-Man PS4, his face does look a little bit weird.
Right.
He has the weirdest facial animations of any of them.
Yeah, that's fair, but I don't know.
And I completely understand why they would get a new guy with a face shape more similar to Yuri so that they could use it and make it look better.
Right.
But they could have at least changed the art, made him at least have the same type of appearance, even if the face was shaped different.
Right.
Either way, that's my number 3. So let's just go on to number 2.
My number 2 is Minecraft.
Okay. I figured this was going to be on the list.
Oh yeah, it's way up there because I played it when it first came out on PC.
That was back in like 2011.
Yeah, 2011. Back when there wasn't that much.
That was 11 fucking years ago.
Yeah. The fact that I'm still playing Minecraft to this day after 11 years is why it's so high on this list. Because
the fact that it's still relevant.
Yeah, it tells you something about the game. A lot of people don't like it because it's a child's game, but whatever. There's time periods for why I like this game so much. First, when it first came out, it was something about it just caught my eye. Then I got it on console. My friends and I would stay up late at night building an entire city or playing survival mode. And then I moved here, got it on PlayStation 4, and we did mostly survival game modes, Or before I got my PS4, I'd go over to my grandpa's during the summer, and he had a PC, and I'd play Minecraft Hunger Games for 8 hours a day. And then I got it on PS4. We would play a bunch of survival games, or survival mode, and we had survival worlds where we all had like mansions and whatnot and created. Just your imagination allowing you to do whatever you want in that game. I built mansions, I built dream homes, and then now even today, just doing a little bit of everything.
My problem is that although I'm a creative personality in the sense that I make these videos, I write, I do this kind of stuff, that's not where my creativity works. So although for a little while I was using like especially in my senior year of high school when I was really struggling with a lot of stuff, especially questioning whether I should drop out, even though it was my senior year.
Right.
I would get home, do my college homework, my college class homework, and then I would listen to like Asking Alexandria and other metalcore, just exploring new metalcore.
Right.
And I specifically remember Asking Alexandria for some reason because I would play some of their music and play Minecraft because I didn't need to listen to Minecraft. And I would play on survival mode technically, but I would keep it at the difficulty that meant there were no creatures.
Oh, it's a peaceful mode?
Yes. So I played it at that because I didn't want creativity mode because that's too overwhelming.
Right.
But so that I could just play and, find shit and whatnot. So it's not my type of game, but I did play it for probably about 30 hours or something like that. Just doing that to calm down.
I do like that because you can be in a voice chat with, friends, having the best time of your life. Or you can have a solo survival world, listening to your playlist on Spotify or whatnot.
Exactly.
And just get lost in the world.
Yeah.
A lot of times I get lost in thought just building a house or something.
Yeah, and I totally get that. Like, it wasn't my type of game, but I remember watching certain types of videos and exploring new music primarily to calm down during my senior year.
Right.
And I've got to give it props for that. Even it's not my game.
Right.
Like, I don't love the game.
I've been playing it.
I don't play it a whole lot.
Years.
But
10 years I've been playing that fucking game.
but in my senior year, I did play it to escape.
Yeah.
Because
it was a good escape.
It was perfect for being able to play something, have something to do while I was exploring new music as an escape. Because music was my escape. So I'll play games too.
Well, they continue to update it. The new update, oh my god. They have mountains. Just actual mountains now. And then they have caves that are hundreds of blocks deep and whatnot. And
I love that the game is so big.
Yeah, it's pretty much endless. I think it's like the second biggest game out there. The first one, No Man's Sky, which is how fast it is. But that game is completely endless.
Yeah, I just like that it works for some people.
Yeah, and it's a great game to just get lost in.
Yeah, I completely respect Minecraft. Even when YouTubers go back to it when YouTube's deciding to censor them for literally everything.
I feel like it would be a game that I stream. I might stream a hardcore Minecraft world.
That would be kind of cool.
Definitely on my PC because it can handle Minecraft fairly well. And
I tried to get what's the PC version? I forget what it's called.
Java.
Yeah, I tried to get Java a year. I
remember you having
ago.
issues.
Yeah, and it wouldn't let me get it for some reason. I couldn't buy it. It just would not weird. Let me buy it for some reason. Java
Edition is amazing, and I like PC version the most because I can play on these servers. I play on console to play with friends, but I play on PC to do Mineplex. That's the server that I spent so much time on playing Hunger Games because Captain Sparkles. He was the first YouTuber I actually committed to watching, and he would play Hunger Games.
Respect to Sparkles, by the way.
Oh, the fact that he's still going to this day is amazing. Yeah. I don't watch too many of his videos anymore, and I kind of feel bad.
And I find it a little bit weird that he's family friendly, but that's his style.
Yeah, and
I only know that because he sometimes plays Among Us with certain people that I watch, and they're family friendly lobbies.
And I mean, I would play Hunger Games for a couple hours, and I'd watch 10 of his videos winning, and I'm like, well, what the hell am I doing wrong? I'm gonna go play for another couple hours. And it would take me just all day of just.
And if I could get my PC to fucking let me get Java, I wouldn't mind getting it. And if I had a time that aligned with yours, play it while you stream or something, or record it and have it be in place of a podcast
I think
or
it's
something.
Cross-platform.
It is cross-play.
I would just have to get Bedrock on my PC. But we also
if I got my Java's on Switch though, so it would just be a real pain in the ass between us. But if we played together, even if I was on Switch, it would just be for fun. It wouldn't fucking matter.
Server that we
true. Either way, I would totally be down to do that if I had time to.
Yeah. And it's a game that you can just continue forever. Choose one world. You can go a couple months without playing it and then get on and build your house or whatnot, have your stuff. It's just...
And you could stream it, and then I could take it and, maybe record it and just do in place of a podcast every once in a while or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe do it with, there would be options.
It's definitely a fun game.
But yeah, so...
The fact that it's still relevant after, 11 or so years.
For sure.
Tells something. It definitely says something.
And yeah, so that's your number 2. So this is my number 2, and this was one that you just said earlier you really liked, one of your favorite series, but you had forgotten to put the game on the list. God of War 2018, affectionately known as Dad of War. Some people call it Dad of Boy.
I can't believe I forgot it because God of War 1, 2, and 3 were some of my favorite games. I like Kratos.
So I have a weird relationship with this game, okay?
Okay.
I had not played, obviously, any God of War game before Dad of War, and I did not even know any of the story behind it before I played it. So I played Dad of War. It was my first game that I ever platinumed. It was on PS Now, on PS4, for the time that I had PS Now. I don't know why, but I did. But it was temporarily on PS Now from sometime in November through December, something like just after, like January 1st of 2020 or something like that. It was on PS Now, just temporary. So I was like, fuck it. And I downloaded it and played it. And I loved it, and I platinumed it. Like, I spent so many hours just trying to platinum that game before it left PS Now. I have since bought it.
Right.
It's such a good, like, it was totally worth it. But
it's an amazing game.
I went back after playing it the first time and watched somebody do playthroughs of all of the God of Wars before that. And then I started a second playthrough of the game, which I didn't finish, but I started it. And I will soon like replay it and replay the whole thing and 100% it again, because I need to record it. And, you know, I have a couple things that I want to do with it leading into Ragnarok too. So, you know, all of that. But when I started replaying it, the first, even just the opening hour of Dad of War, after I'd watched all the story of the previous games, and knowing what comes later, there is so much fucking foreshadowing. Yeah. So much foreshadowing in Dad of War. Like, even some that you probably don't even recognize just from later in the game. Yeah. Some that you might recognize because of past games. But from me watching that and knowing what occurred later in the game, I was like, there's so much foreshadowing. Like, so much I couldn't even describe it. When I was playing, I was messaging Josh, like, every 5 minutes, just like, oh my god, this foreshadows this. This foreshadows this. This foreshadows this. How did, like, it was such a fun experience to just replay the first 10 hours of the game.
One thing I found, so have you seen the Ragnarok trailer?
I don't know if I've seen, like, the full trailer.
Well, there's a part of it where Atreus is like, I need you to stop thinking like a father for a moment and start thinking like a general. Kratos cuts him off and just says, no. If you remember Kratos being a general in the first 3 God of War movies, he's a monster.
True.
He's a monster.
True.
And I'm curious for Ragnarok if Atreus or if Kratos is going to go back into that general mode. Like,
who knows? A lot of people expect for Kratos to die, and it's just
he's died before and come back. Though.
I know, but it's like dying for real because they've got to get rid of Kratos somehow and like trying to turn it into Atreus' game. And I'm like, but does that really work? Because Atreus. Well, spoilers for Dad of War, by the way. Does that really work? Because Atreus is Loki. He's not a god of war. Yeah. Even in this made-up... Right. Even in this made-up mythology, made-up interpretations of it, Loki's not even close to a god of war. No. So having God of War games where Kratos isn't in it doesn't make sense, for one. And for two, even if they did try to do that, I have theories for how they could do it without bringing flashbacks to, spoiler alert, Last of Us 2. Yeah. Because as soon as I had theories like, are they going to try to kill Kratos? Oh god, this is going to be Last of Us 2 all over again. Right. I feel like if he is going to... I want to see Kratos actually rage like he did in the first 3. Because I don't... The fourth one, I could see situations where he might. Yes. The main thing is that I don't know how much they would be willing to lean into that, though, because a lot of what made Kratos so good in the game was because he grew as a person. He did. Maybe a part of the game where he's fighting Odin, because we're probably going to have to fight Odin in this next one. Maybe. We know we're going to have to fight... At least Thor. Yes. But they said this is the last God of War game that's going to take place in... What mythology are they in? Norse. This is the last God of War game in Norse mythology, before they move on to something different. I wonder if they're going to go to Egyptian next. They might. But they might go to something more obscure. Right, but this is Ragnarok is going to be the last game in... Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were going to make a trilogy or not. Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were going to make a trilogy or not, but I'm like, I don't think they would try to make a trilogy because the difference was, after a while, the Greek games did get really old. Like Ascension was just a slog for most people. And most of those games were like after the trilogy, the other 3 were fine, but at that point it was telling just a bunch of mini stories in between the main events that were just like, okay, well, this doesn't really matter. We knew this.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't want to do that. Plus, Dad of War by itself is as long as 3 of the original God of War games anyway.
Yeah.
So Ragnarok is presumably going to follow that same thing.
I think we're going to have to fight Odin, because I think in the trailer, Kratos is even like, what does Odin want? Or maybe even in...
Maybe, I don't remember.
I remember him asking, what does Odin want? I feel like we're going to have to fight Thor, fight Odin. I feel like Kratos might lose his shit during one of those fights and just go.
Maybe. I have theories for some things that are going to happen that I wanted to make a video of a long time ago, but I am super hyped.
I feel like I might take a couple of days off work just for this game.
I'm so excited for this game. Like, I'm very excited.
I might tell my bosses, be like, I need 3 days off.
I finally have reached my 1-year anniversary at work, so I have 40 hours of vacation. And even though I'm getting my wisdom teeth out this year, I'm not using vacation for that.
Gonna use it for God of War.
I'll just eat up it. But when God of War comes out, or Dad of War 2, Ragnarok, when that comes out, I might use vacation time for a couple of those days and just be like, can I have this weekend off? And just, not work these couple days. I just want time off. And then just play God of War.
Yeah.
And just make time to play God of War.
I can see myself taking time off. And I'm a person that doesn't request time off often. I've done it maybe 2-3 times in the 3 years I've worked there.
Yeah.
And so anytime I ask for time off, they're most likely to give it to me. And I'm be like, if they're going to ask why, I'm be like, because of video games coming out.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, we've talked a lot about speculation and stuff just so far, but God of War...
It's an amazing game.
It's an amazing game. It's damn
But I can't.
Perfect.
It's so hard.
And like I said in the Spider-Man, Dad of War's combat is the only game's combat that rivals Spider-Man's. And they're 2 completely different styles. The combat is so good.
Some people were upset that with Ragnarok, the combat looked the same as God of War 4. And I'm like, that's a good thing.
Exactly.
It's like...
It's supposed to be the same. It's a direct sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, like... Dad of War is a huge change from all of the other God of War games, but they needed that.
They could not do another.
They could not do another combo.
Yeah.
Based. They could not do another game like the old ones. They would get ripped to pieces. So the fact that they tried something new and it landed as well as it did was amazing. And it never wore out its welcome.
Yeah.
So even if it's just this one sequel, it being basically the same game,
I'm okay.
But continuing the story and looking even better.
Yeah.
And for 2018 game, same as Detroit Become Human, God of War looks great. And it is literally a one-take game.
Really?
All of the cutscenes and everything, there's not a cut.
Oh,
there's not a single cut in it. Because it's all third person over the shoulder.
Right.
But when it goes into cutscenes and stuff, it turns and stuff. The way that somehow they made this game to do that purposely, to be one take.
Yeah.
A one take video game. Trying to develop something to do that, couldn't have been easy, and huge props, because I didn't even realize it until long after I'd played. It was when someone brought it up. This is a one take video game. I was like, no. So when I was replaying it, I was noticing, I was like, there's not a single cut. There's no cuts. It's just one take. And it works so well. It's a damn near perfect game.
Supposed to come out this year?
It's supposed to, yeah. It was originally supposed to come out last year, but obviously a lot of delays over the last couple of years.
I'm okay with delays as long as the game's okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Like, a delayed game is eventually okay.
Yes.
A rushed game is bad forever.
Yes. But
according to the one Nintendo guy. But Dad of War is honestly a perfect game.
It really is.
It is a perfect game.
And even if you've never played the God of War games, play this one.
Yes.
You don't need to know Kratos' entire backstory to get into this game.
Yeah. Like I said, I played this game before I knew anything about previous games, and I was perfectly fine. There's a couple story moments that are more impactful if you know some of the story. A couple moments. But if you literally just read a plot summary of God of War 1, 2, and 3, that's literally all you need.
Yeah, you don't even...
Or if you just watch a 15-minute video history of God of.
There's a video
like history of Kratos, but then stop it if it starts to go into
God of War 4.
Yeah. If you just watch like a history that just explains the story of the original Greek God of War games, that's all you need to go into this game.
Yeah.
And you're fine even if you don't. Yes, that's one of the other things. Like, not only did they change the gameplay, they changed the setting, they jumped it far enough in the future and stuff that you did not require the past. They're, like I said, references that
it helps
really,
to know the past, but it's not necessary to enjoy it.
Not at all necessary.
Yeah.
And that is what's so fantastic.
It really is a good
game. There aren't that many games that I would say are perfect. Like, I don't know if I would consider Marvel Spider-Man perfect 10 out of 10, but it's damn near close. God of War, I would say, is one of them.
It's definitely
It is a 10 out of 10 game.
Yes.
For sure. So this video's gone long enough. We've gone through everything up to the second one. Come back the first Friday of April, and that's going to be the only podcast in April for reasons that you'll see in the April State of Affairs video. So make sure to check that out on the 1st of April when that comes out. It'll explain everything.
Yeah.
But on the first Friday of April, we'll be finishing this out, talking about our number ones. This video's already gone on long enough, and we want to have a little bit more room to talk specifics about our number one games, respectively. So come back and check that out when it comes out. But in the meantime, I'm Holden.
Oh, he's Holden.
He's Lane.
Yeah.
Bye. And this has been the seasonal podcast. We'll see you guys.